Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hey guys. Okay. For original link to the video, top of the description. My name's Connor if you're new. Uh, Walter's World. Sorry. First video of the day I'm recording. Mistakes American tourists make in England. Perfect. Preemptive like. Let's go, guys.
We travel. We want to make sure
Oops. I didn't mean to let it play here.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Chester, England, and today what we want to talk about are some of the mistakes that travelers make when they do come here to England, because this is a beautiful country. There's so much to see and do outside of just going to London that a lot of people miss out on, and we all make mistakes when we travel. We want to make sure that you don't make mistakes when you do come here, and I think one mistake actually just comes with timing. One of the things I see the most troubles with that tourists have when they come here is the idea of 7:30. If someone says 7:30 to an American, they're like, what? Half of
Can I just wait?
7 is 3.5. But the thing is, when you're telling time in England, 7:30 means 7:30. Okay. Now, if you were in Germany or some other place, 7:30 actually means 6:30. But here,
Yeah.
7:30 is 7:30. That's where
I've only ever heard, I don't, maybe I've heard 7:30, 6:30 or something, but I've definitely heard, it's like, oh, what time is it? 3:45. That means 3:45. And I never really understood why that's the case when saying, usually when it's like you have a different phrasing of something, it's to save time. But 3:45, 3:45, how is that saving anything? Look, I'm a simple person. I like efficiency in conversation. Okay. But yeah, if you said half, what?
I've seen a lot of miscommunication with tourists and travel. 7:30, okay? Reservations for restaurants or train tickets. So remember, 7:30 is 7:30, okay?
Half 7. Yeah, that. Why not just say 7:30? Am I the crazy one here? What I originally wanted to say though is, like you have the half timber. Is that the word for it? Houses. I've been told many times in comments, and I always forget what it is. But you have the brick and the half timber right next to each other. Beautiful.
For
My two
restaurants
favorites.
or train tickets. So remember, 7:30 is 7:30,
Got it.
okay? Now, another mistake that tourists make when they go around England is they forget to take advantage of the deals, because there's so many deals you can get, whether it's on train
Make a
tickets, it's
deal.
going out to eat, getting the extra specials. There's all kinds of stuff. Heck, not using the National Trust when you're going around to see the stately manors and the homes around the country. I mean, there's so many places that put
Nicely done. Who mowed this?
together deals where
Internet?
if you buy a pass for a few days, it will really pay for itself. So really make sure you're doing your research on how you can save some money when you come here. Because honestly, I know every time we come here, we get our National Trust Pass, and it helps us get into a budget just for stately homes and manor houses and all kinds of things. And that really helps save our budget, and we get to see more when we're there, because we're not worried about, well, how much is the next place going to cost? How much is the next place going to cost? It all kind of goes together. So make sure you look for those things. And kind of going off with the National Trust is also, I see tourists make the mistake of not staying in historic inns and bed and breakfasts. Look, when you're going around, if you're in a city like this here in Chester, there's so many historic inns you can go stay in. The place I'm staying with, it's been an inn since the 1500s. Yes, the steps are a little wobbly and they're kind of wonky and stuff like that, but
part of the
building's
charm.
like 500 years old. What do you expect? And that's one of the things can really make this much of a cultural adventure.
If a building is that old, I would be upset if the stairs were too stable.
You're here, and to really
I
get a
wouldn't
better
believe it.
vibe and a better feel for everything is staying at those historic inns, staying in those bed and breakfasts, and not just going to a standard hotel. Now, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to be going to these villages, you're going to need to look for, and towns, you're going to be looking for local accommodation, because there's not always a chain hotel in every single town you go to or city you want to go to in England. So make sure you're
That's what I noticed in not just England, but a lot of European countries. Is that, like, I remember Amsterdam, or was it somewhere else in the Netherlands or Belgium? It was Amsterdam. No, but the steps were like deadly if you fell down, super steep. But that's a thing about. There's a lot of charming.
a little bit more open-minded with your
like charming, like individualistic, unique, that's the word, types of accommodations when you're looking for a place to sleep in Europe and England, part of Europe. But sometimes I do like the American chain hotels because you know what you're getting. You know, it's not perfect or whatever, but it's like, all right, I've had a long day of traveling. I don't know where I am really, but hey, there's a Best Western or a Hilton, right? It's like it's not very charming in a lot of ways that European hotels can be. But I think that that's a little bit of comfort, especially if you're new to somewhere, to just be like, oh, there it is. Like, there's the Hilton, right? You know, there's the Four Seasons or whatever. So the pros and cons.
Accommodation options. Now, another thing people say that keeps them from coming to England is they think it's going to be a very expensive trip. And yes, if you're going to go to London, London will be a very expensive trip. I will not deny that. That's going to be one of the most expensive cities you can go to as a traveler. But here's the thing. If you come up here to the north of England, or you go other places in the south of England or the Midlands, prices are significantly less than you go to London. And so don't think that, oh, well, England's going to be a super expensive vacation. No, it's not. I know for me, I've spent 2 weeks between York, Liverpool, and Chester, and I've spent the same amount of money as 1 week in
Where's
London.
Chester?
Okay, so kind of think about that when you're looking at
Where's Chester, guys? I know where York and Liverpool are.
you're going to go, because choosing where you go in the country can have a big impact on your budget when you come here. Now, another thing I see tourists making a mistake about when they come here to England is not respecting the queue culture. Look, line culture, queue culture, standing in line is very much a thing here. And in my video on how to upset the locals, you know, kind of piss them off when you're here, that's like number one of the things that will upset people. And you have to realize is if you come to a place where everyone kind of bum rushes the door when the subway opens or the train opens, or whoever can just get in front of people gets to go first, that's not how it works here. People very much set up a nice line, nice queue. They wait in line. They don't complain about it. They wait there, you know, stiff upper lip. We're just going to wait until it's our turn.
I don't know why I'm raising my hand exactly. This is something that kind of annoyed me initially because I'm like, wait, well, do English people think that other places around the world just like do not form lines? But then I realized I'm the dumb one because there are scenarios in Britain, like was just said, where a line would not be formed where it might be in England, like the subway, for example. No one in America is going to form a line to enter a subway. It's just go in, you know? And so that's something that at first I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And as I've thought about it and watched certain videos, I see what people mean.
That's how it is here. And if you go against that, people are not going to be happy with you. They're going to say something to you. And sometimes you don't realize it because maybe you're from, hey, whoever gets to the front is to the front.
Okay, but this is on you, okay? There is no excuse at all if you see a clear line forming and you're like, well, that's not how we board the train or that's not how whatever, so I'm just going to walk up. That's a you problem, okay? You're the issue, all right? Not the people forming the line. So if you see a line that people are clearly in, especially if you're in a different country than where you're from, if you don't join that line like you're supposed to, that's not a culturally like I didn't know. Like that excuse is not going to fly. You see a line, you join it, especially if you're in a new country.
Doesn't matter if there's a line or not, but that is a mistake I see a lot of international travelers making here. Another mistake that tourists make is sometimes they don't realize the differences between England, Scotland, Wales, Britain, Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain,
British
Northern
Isles.
Ireland. You know, you have all these different words you'll hear about talking
Nice
about different
map.
places around here. And I think it's really important you realize if somebody's from England, they're English. If they're from Wales, they're Welsh. They're not English. If they're from Scotland, they're a Scot.
Look at how mountainous Wales is compared to England. England is very flat compared to every other country in the UK. Even Northern Ireland.
England, they're English. If they're from Wales, they're Welsh. They're not English. If they're from Scotland, they're a Scot. They're not English, okay? And so that's one thing that tourists don't always know, and they sometimes upset people because if you call an Englishman a Scot, there's a connotation of that. If you call a Scottish person English, there's a connotation in that as well. So you do want to be careful with that because that's just a simple mistake that tourists do make. And the other thing is when you're traveling around, a lot of people make the mistake of I'm only going to stay in cities and I'm only going to stay in towns when I come here to England. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of natural beauty when you come here, whether you're going to the Yorkshire Dales or you're going to go to the Peak District or you're going to go to the Lake District, which is just gorgeous, see the cliffs of Dover. Going around, you have to realize there's tons of hiking trails, there's tons of walking trails, there's all kinds of nature you can have when you're here. When you come to England, it's not just going from city to city to city.
This makes you want to watch a Liam Brown video.
It's not like you're doing a football tour, you know, around going London for Chelsea, Manchester for Manchester United, Liverpool for Everton. No. You can go around and enjoy the nature that's here as well, which a lot of people don't really think about because they think of England and industrialization in London, whereas honestly, there's a lot of beautiful nature when you're here, okay? So let's hop to another part of England to talk about some more mistakes that tourists make. So now we're here in York, outside of York Minster, and my next mistake that tourists make when they come to England is they think that it rains all the time, every day when you're here in England, and that's
one of you guys in the comments made me laugh and take us. I forget what video it was on. Did I respond to them? I'm not great at responding to comments. I have to admit. I see them. I'm get anxious or something. One of you guys made me laugh. And then you provided evidence, and then I looked it up, and you are correct that Rhode Island, which is the state in the U.S. where I'm from, gets more rain than England does, or than the UK does, or something like that. And I didn't believe you until I looked it up, and you were right. I think I did respond to you, actually, whoever you are.
It's not true. I've been here a number of times in the summer where I was here literally for 10 days and it didn't rain at all. Like, it was sunny. I got sunburn. I mean, you don't think about sunburn in England when you come here, but it does happen. So don't think it rains all the time. Now, I know it's cloudy now, but just be aware that it's not a torrential downpour every single day when you're here in England, okay?
And I hear there's more rainfall precipitation in the in the west side of the British Isles than the east.
Now, having said that, I do want to say another mistake is not bringing rain gear when you come, because yes, it probably will rain sometime when you're here. I won't lie to you. I remember I was here for New Year's. It was like raining.
I love that. It's like he's like, it doesn't rain as much as you think it does. Also, bring rain gear.
Sideways and my socks were wet. It was a crazy time. But have your stuff. Like my backpack, I have a rain poncho in there in case it does rain. So do be prepared for that. But don't think it's going to rain all the time. But just be prepared in case it does. Now, the next costly mistake I see tourists make when they come to England is they disrespect or disregard the coins. Look, the coins you get when you come here, they're actually worth something. It's not like in the U.S. where even if you have like a lot of coins, it might be,
at the value?
82 cents, but you have a handful of coins. Here, if you have a handful of coins, you could probably pay for dinner.
Yeah, what? It's like, oh, I have coins. Oh, that's like a quarter. Throw it away.
You got maybe a 2-pound coin or a 1-pound coin. I mean, 50-cent piece. I mean, money and coins really go farther here than in the U.S. and other places. So
oh, guys, let me show you. One sec. Well, I'm sad. I thought I had... You see... That's a U.S. I thought I got excited because I'm like, oh, there's Queen Elizabeth, but it's a Canadian coin. That's a bummer. Never mind. All right, let's continue.
don't just leave them behind or throw them in the fountain. Use them to buy some cool souvenirs or buy yourself a snack or buy yourself dinner, which I've done a number of times with the coins I've had here. And when you are ordering, another mistake I see tourists make is they order an ale and they expect a beer. Look, when you get an ale here in England, they actually pull it. It's like a pump. They're actually pulling it to get it out, all right? And you have those ales when you're here, and they're very different than your Bud Light or your Budweiser, your Stella Artois, that bubbly, cold, ice cold beer that tickles your nose. No, ales are very different than your traditional kind of beer you kind of think of when you're thinking of getting a beer with your buddies and crack off the top and do this. No, they're going to pull that beer, okay? So when you order an ale, don't expect a beer, expect an ale. It is a different experience. And yes, that means it's not going to be ice cold. It's going to be closer to room temperature than ice cold, but it's still going to be fantastic. Now, the next mistake I see tourists making is they think London is England. Yes, London is in England, and London has a lot of stuff that's in England.
So is Guinness an ale? Any beer aficionados?
But don't think just because you went to London, you saw England. There's a reason why I'm filming this in York and other places around England, so I can show you this country has so much more than just London. It's like saying I went to New York City and I saw the US. I went to Paris and I saw France. I went to Tokyo, I saw Japan. There's so much more throughout England you can go and enjoy. Here in the north, when you're going to York, it's a great time. Or maybe you're going to go over to Liverpool and see where the Beatles were. Or maybe you go down to Brighton or you go to the Cliffs of Dover. I mean, you go around England, there's so much more to do here than doing London. So please, even if you're only going to be going to London, do some of the day trips to, like, go down to Brighton, go to Canterbury, go to Bath, go see some of the other parts, because don't think that it's just London when you're here. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. Go and explore this country because it is beautiful. And when you're going to explore this beautiful country, another mistake.
So I'm not a big, I don't want to over exaggerate when I say, like, I'm not a big nightlife person. I'm not trying to say, like, I stay away from a bar or somewhat of a club at any, I don't mind, but it's just not what I'm interested in usually, right? And so the only reason I would like to go to London is for food or for history. History, mainly. Anyways, let's go.
I see tourists make is they get scared off of driving because they drive on a different side of the road than you drive in back home.
And the steering wheel is on the other side.
Look, it's okay to be scared driving in London because even the locals are scared to drive in London. But driving around England is wonderful. You can go and explore so much more. See more castles, see more stately homes, see the different national parks that are around here. There's so many great things to see and do that you need to have a car to truly enjoy. And so many tourists make the mistake of, yeah, it's the other side of the road. Roundabouts scare me. I don't want to do this. No.
Luckily, my dad can drive a manual because it was me, my dad, and brother who went last time, and we flew into the Heathrow airport, and then we rented a car. I think it was an Audi. It was. It's a nice car, and so the driving wheel is on the right-hand side of the car. No. Yes. And you drive on the left. And then when we cross through the Channel Tunnel into France, now it's on the right-hand side of the car, the steering wheel, but now you're driving on the right-hand side of the road. And so I'm glad my dad knew how to do that. And so me, it's like I'm going to have to drive a manual, which I don't know how to do. I'm going to have the weird feeling of having the steering wheel on the other side. And I got to drive on the other side of the road. So it's just, I guess I can get an automatic car.
Don't make that mistake. You'll be okay. The first roundabout or two will scare you a little bit, but after that, you'll be fine. And you'll be surprised when you get away from London how little traffic you're going to have so you can enjoy it and not freak out about all the driving and all the other side of the road stuff. And when people actually do start driving around England, they start to realize another mistake they made. And that is thinking that English food is just fish and chips and bangers and mash and other pub grub kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
Look, England has a lot of immigration from all over the world that's come here, and they brought their food with them, so you could have fantastic food that is not just straight from a fry-up. You could have so much great food when you're here that's not just an English breakfast or something like that. You could have non-English food when you're here and have a lot of great food as well, and it's not just that bangers and mash, fish and chips, and hitting the pub for a grub. No, there's a lot more than the chippy when you do come here.
Bangers and mash, fish and chip, roast dinner, pub. Sounds perfect to me.
And with that food, another mistake I see tourists make is when they go to a pub, they think people are going to come take their order. Look, if you're going to a pub and you see a number on your table, realize that probably no one's going to come and take your order. You need to go to the bar to put your order in, and then you tell them what your table number is, and then someone will bring it out to you, okay? Because I've been in a number of pubs in England over the years where tourists are just sitting there going, well, no one's coming to serve us. What's going on here? Look, don't make that mistake. Just go up, order at the bar, car and you'll be fine. Just take your number up so you can pay and they know where to bring it, okay? Now, if you're going to be traveling by train around England, which is super easy to do, another thing I have to say, another mistake I see people make is they don't get a rail card. Look, if you get a rail card, you can get some serious discounts on train purchases because the trains in England, going around Great Britain overall, they can be a little pricey, and saving some money just by having a rail card can go a long way. So if you're going to be coming here for like 10 days, you're going from London to York to Liverpool to Chester, to Wales to up to Scotland, wherever, those rail cards can be a big discount for you and help you save a lot of money. So don't be afraid to buy one, even if you're only here for a few days, because honestly, it can really save you some really good money and pay for itself. So another mistake tourists make when they come here is really trying to understand the kind of love, I'm not going to say love-hate, I'm going to say love/loathe relationship that England and English fans have with the England football team, the Three Lions. I mean, you'll be surprised how much, if you listen to the radio, how much they love England, how England really should win every World Cup and every European Championship and every Champions League and every UEFA Cup, everything ever. England should win every single soccer football tournament ever. And you'll hear them it's crazy how much like we are the best. It's coming home. Like you have this crazy mentality.
Well, you guys invented
for
the game,
English
right?
team. But then on the same thing, if things don't go well, if they miss a penalty kick or get stopped or they sky it over the bar, how people really turn on the team, like, oh, the manager needs to go. We need someone else here. This team is horrible. Blah, blah, blah.
That's just a sports fan. I think that's pretty standard. Even if you're a big sports fan in the U.S., you're gonna have the same reaction.
It's just crazy how much they can be so happy and so yes, England, but at the same time go, oh, I hate them. I mean, it's
well, if you love the team so much, then if they lose and you didn't care about this stuff, then do you really love the team? Because if you love it so much and you find something wrong that caused them to lose, you're gonna be angry. So that just seems natural.
It's one of those things like tourists can't really understand, and don't make the mistake of trying to understand because you can't. Like they have a whole other mentality when it comes to football than you have in any other country. So that love and loathing they have for the Three Lions, yeah, just don't be surprised. Don't make the mistake that you think you can understand it because you can't, and that's okay. So let's go to a different place to continue on our mistakes that tourists make when they come here to England. Now we're here in Liverpool, and I think the next mistake I want to talk about is when people come to England, they think when it says an 85% chance of rain that it's going to be a complete downpour the entire day. Look, the rain here is just kind of like rain. It just kind of comes and goes during the day. It's usually not a really heavy downpour. Yes, it does happen sometimes, but it's more of just like a kind of constant on and off rain. And on days when it says it's going to be sunny, you might have a splash of rain pop in, or in a day like today where it's supposed to be, raining all day long. Yes, there's some dark clouds over there, but across the way it's all sunny. So don't make the mistake of thinking that the weather's going to be one way or not, or that downpours are going to come if they say it's going to rain. It's more of a light, constant drizzle most of the time, all right?
I've heard different interpretations of different explanations of what the percentage precipitation means, even over here with weather. And I've heard, like, my mind goes to, well, like, if there's an 85%, it means there's an 85% chance of rain. But I guess it means also that, like, 85% of an area is going to get rain. I don't know. Does anyone know what that means for certain?
Right?
Like if it's like, all right, 85% precipitation, what does that exactly mean?
Now, since I'm here in Liverpool, I think it's important to mention this mistake. We're in a Manchester United jersey here in Liverpool. Well, not just that, but I think a lot of tourists think that, oh, I'm going to go to England, I'll get my new T-shirt, my new jersey for my favorite team, whether it's Manchester, Liverpool, Chelsea, whatever, and then they're just going to wear it out when they go to the pub or when they go around and see the sights. And I think that's a mistake that tourists make because most of the time it doesn't matter. People don't really care. But if it's like a game day or people are getting a little bit too exuberant or the lads...
Well, Liverpool and Manchester are essentially the same city, right? Like there's no difference.
Had too many drinks that can be...
I heard not to say that. I'm sorry. I take that back. I'm sorry.
Something you want to think about. So get your jersey when you're here. And if you're going to go to the game, go ahead and wear it. But if you're not, save it until you get home. Now, another mistake I see tourists make when they come to England is they have the wrong adapter. When you come here, you want an adapter like this.
Right.
See how it's these three flat things here? That's what you want to have. That's what you're looking for the UK in general, okay? So if you're looking to get an adapter, I recommend you get like a universal adapter that'll have like Europe, and it'll have the US, and then it'll have the UK. So make sure you have the right adapter chapter. Now, a mistake that even seasoned travelers sometimes make when they come to England is if
Anyone
you go to
know who
Europe,
this
or,
is?
or mainland Europe, you're in Germany or Spain or you're in the U.S. even, or in Canada, you're used to having just one company run all the train lines. And that's a mistake you make when you come here to England, because there's literally, it feels like dozens of different companies that actually run the train lines depending where you're going to go throughout the country. And so when you go online, you go to the National Rail website and you go to book your ticket, and then it kicks you off to another website, people are like, oh, is this a scam? No, they're going to send you to the website of the company that runs the train line that you want to get. So for example, I'm here for a 12-day trip. I've had to sign up for 4 different programs on 4 different train lines to get myself around the country. So don't think there's just one train line when you're here.
Okay.
And another mistake, and it doesn't matter if you're at the railway station or you're at the bus station or you're at a museum or you're walking around the city, is that's when tourists don't ask for assistance when they're here in England, because they have a great system here to help out tourists and to help out people, but also the people here are pretty friendly and they will help you out. I mean, and it doesn't matter if you're lost in London or lost in Leeds, someone will help you if you ask. And the thing is,
especially like if they hear your accent, like if someone over here were to ask for directions, I would be like, yeah, I'd help with an American, if they had an American accent. Yeah. If they had a British accent, I would be very eager to help, just because they clearly don't know what they're doing. That's the thing. As someone who, like, I have some social anxiety, but when I get into social situations, I feel like I don't have that. It's more like I'm afraid of the possibilities rather than like when I'm actually in the social situation and I'm fine, more than fine sometimes. And so if I'm over in England, I might come across as annoying or something, but I'm gonna ask. I don't care if it's a stranger on the street. Just because I think, I don't know, people are generally helpful. All right, I think that's just true.
the police are very helpful here. Museum guides are helpful here. Your concierges are here. Or just the dude walking down the street or the person you're sitting by on the train. You can talk to them. I mean, here in Liverpool, the people are more than outgoing to give you advice. If you look lost, they'll be like, hey, mate, you lost? You know, so don't be afraid to ask for help when you're here. And you're going to maybe want to ask that help, especially if you want to go shopping late, because I think that's a mistake that tourists make when they come to England. They think, oh, it's going to be open late night. I can go shopping in the evening. It'll be great. No. I mean, that is a big mistake you make when you come here. You need to realize if you're in London, yeah, the shops stay open longer, right? And the museums might stay open longer. But if you're here in the north, you're in the Midlands, or wherever you're going to be going around, you have to realize that some places, the museums might close at 4 o'clock. The stores might close at 5 or 6 p.m. I mean, that's one of the things you have to kind of think about when you're here is, hey, when do I need to get everything done? So make sure you're looking for the schedules of all the places you want to visit so you can make sure you can get in. Because you don't want to miss out on going to some of the great museums that are here or the historic homes.
That's what I'm talking about. Museums, historic homes.
You have to realize
he was a little more abrupt there. I feel like I watch a lot of these, you know, what to do if you visit here, or like shocks of tourists visiting this area or that area, is almost 50% of the tips in these types of videos, I think, can come down to, you know, realize you're in a different country, and if something is a little strange to you, rather than like complaining, why isn't something going on? Why aren't they waiting at my table? Why? It's a good thing probably to be like, okay, I'm in a different country that has different norms. It's likely if I'm confused, then there's a difference. And so ask rather than being upset and complaining later. I think about around 50% of the tips can be attributed to that. Be respectful, realize you're in a different country, and expect to, you know what I mean, right? No, lower your open-minded. There you go. Love you all. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you're not doing well, look at me. You're going to be okay, all right? Emotions are fickle. You'll be okay soon. Don't worry. Which means if you're happy, I got bad news. No, love you all. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you guys next video.